Members of the public gallery should note the Council records and publishes Council meetings via YouTube to enhance the accessibility of Council meetings to the broader Wellington community.
Just coming down there. That's his screensaver.
Excellent. So, Councillor Lowe, can you hear me? I might just continue with the Council meeting information. Members of the public in attendance at the Council meeting who wish to communicate with the Council regarding an agenda item or any other matter should advise the Mayor, ideally prior to the meeting starting, to ensure that their submission is called at the appropriate time during the meeting. Would gallery visitors, councillors and invited online attendees please ensure that mobile phones and other electronic devices are turned off or in silent mode for the duration of the meeting. Councillor Lowe?
Hello?
Terrific. Councillor Lowe, we can't see you yet.
Yeah, I'll figure it out in a second, but you can hear me though?
Can hear you?
Oh, we can hear. Can you see and hear us?
I can see and hear you, yes.
We don't need to see Councillor Lowe, we just need to see and hear.
It would be preferable if we could see him, Mayor.
Okay. I presume you're not in that spaceship, Councillor Lowe.
No, I am not. I will try and figure it out, but thank you.
Just check your camera, Councillor Lowe. She's on top of your laptop.
Yeah, the camera's on, but just been...
So, Ed, if you've got your, Councillor Lowe, if you've got your mobile with you, I might get Arthur to give you a quick call just to help you through.
No worries. Thank you.
Arthur's giving you a call now, Councillor Lowe.
Thank you.
Given, councillors, we have quorum and Councillor Lowe can hear, I'll get underway with the meeting and then we'll reconfirm with Councillor Lowe when he can manage to get back online. Wellington Shire Council acknowledges our office is located in the traditional lands of the Gunno-Kurno Nation and we pay our respects to their elders past and present. We don't have any apologies. Do we have any declarations of conflict of interest? Can we move to item 3 then, the confirmation of the minutes of the previous council meeting? Councillor Bannerman, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. I move that...
It's on the screen if you like that.
I can't see that far. I move that Council adopt the minutes of the ordinary council meeting of the 17th of June 2025 and resolutions.
Seconded Councillor Wells. Is that motion opposed? The motion not being opposed, it's carried. Did you wish to speak to that?
Just a reminder, Mayor, that a couple of the matters that came before Council at our last meeting, we have asked for public feedback on those. So we've put out to the public interest both the proposed plan for the Shire for the next several years, and we also have the somewhat controversial changes to the toilet laws that we would appreciate people's feedback on. Thank you.
Certainly, we encourage people to make submissions to those items, definitely. Business arising from previous meetings, we have none. We have a new background for Councillor Lowe, which is good.
He's getting closer, man.
Terrific. If we move then on to 5, acceptance of late or urgent items, I believe we have one late item. Thank you, Councillor Madeley.
I'm happy to move that. There's Councillor Lowe. I move that Council accept Councillor Stevens' notice of motion regarding the notice of Bendigo Bank branch closure at Yarram as a late item.
Seconded Councillor Wells. Is that motion opposed? Motion not being opposed, it's carried. And we welcome Councillor Lowe. Councillor, can you again confirm that you can see and hear us?
I can see and hear you, thank you.
Terrific, thank you. That motion has been passed. So, Councillor Stevens, I'm happy for that motion to be dealt with straight away, if you
Yes,
would like
thank
to.
you. Thank you, Mayor. I thank you and the council for agreeing to accept this late item. I think it's a very important matter that we need to discuss. So without further ado, I will move that the Mayor write to the Head of Corporate Affairs at Bendigo Bank to express Council's deep disappointment and concern regarding the decision to close the Yarram branch, including the unacceptable lack of community consultation and the significant negative impact on residents, small businesses, community groups and staff. To call on Bendigo Bank to immediately pause its closure plans and engage meaningfully with Council and the Yarram community to explore alternative service delivery models, such as agency partnerships, part-time staffing or mobile banking options that maintain access to banking services in the town. And 3, request that the CEO write to relevant state and federal government ministers, including the Minister for Regional Development and the Minister for Small Business, to raise awareness of the issue and advocate for policies that safeguard essential services in rural and regional communities. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Stevens. Second to Councillor Wells. Is that motion opposed? Motion not being opposed, it's carried. Did you wish to speak to the motion?
Absolutely, Mayor.
I thought
And
so.
thank you for your support. Look, this is a disgraceful and devastating decision by the Bendigo Bank. They claim that they're a better, bigger bank. One of my friends in Yarram said what it really means is that they are no better than a big bank. And the devastating news that they are planning to close this branch frankly left me gobsmacked, Mayor. I was just so extremely disappointed because the Bendigo Bank have constantly held themselves out to be a bank that will support regional communities and rural people. And this decision flies in the face of all that. All the people in our community who are pensioners, and we've got such a hard life, I'll get my facts right, hang on. All the people that we've got in our community who are just low socio-economic, I think it's over 25%, these people can't really move far from town. A lot of them haven't got the transport or the opportunity to go to places like Traralgon or beyond for their banking services. And a lot of these people, I know that a lot of these people have only got very small accounts. But despite that, the senior managers of the Bendigo Bank told Mr Pomeroy and I in an online meeting on Friday that the Yarram branch is profitable. But the lending book is reducing, so clearly it's profitable but not profitable enough for the Bendigo Bank. What a disgrace, Mayor. That is absolutely disgusting that they have been there telling us that they're going to provide service to our people. They've attracted a lot of business, obviously because they're the last bank in town, but now that's meaningless and they're just going to pull the pin. You know, I heard a rumour off the back of a passing truck Wednesday of last week that this was likely to happen. I didn't believe it. I didn't believe it, Mayor. Then 2 days later, I got an email from them telling me to beware of scams. I thought, what a massive scam this is, that the Bendigo Bank is planning to shut down the community's banking. I just cannot believe it. I'm really extremely angry. I'm trying to make myself act in a professional manner and not use bad language as some other community people have done. But it just defies belief, Mayor. I really can't get over it. If we were a loss-making branch, okay, maybe I'd see that they're a business clearly, but they still have to consider their customers and provide service. It's just amazing. And the fact is, community groups need cash. Small business needs cash. Some of our people have got really large accounts. One or two customers have got multi-million-dollar accounts that they're transacting through the Bendigo Bank, Yarram. And it's just something that we need to keep fighting for. I got quoted on the Win News last night when I was in full rampant disgust that I was going to die in a ditch in relation to this. Well, I'm still prepared to die in the ditch supporting the community and supporting the retention of banking services, Mayor. And I've probably professed enough. I don't think I can say much more. I think to express just how upset I am, and the community is upset about this decision. So thank you again, Mayor, and I think working with the council to try and see what we can retrieve from this mess is going to be something that's very important moving forward. So thanks again, Mayor. Thank you again, Council.
Thanks, Councillor Stevens. And given the significance of this decision, would anyone else like to speak to this? Thank you, Councillor Ripper.
Thanks, Mayor. And thanks, Councillor Stevens, for putting this motion forward and for the councillors for supporting it. As a lot of people would know, or maybe don't know, Yarram is only serviced by public transport buses. And there's a lot of people in Yarram who are now retired, have worked very, very hard to support the town and district. Those people sadly will be in stress mode. Some of them are unable to get on a bus. I know at times you can order a bus that will take disabled people, but if they need to go to a bank, it's far too far away. So Yarram, being slightly, I would say, isolated, is very disappointing that the Bendigo Bank has decided to close. Possibly if they had shown some compassion and in an orderly manner had let the people know, the outcome probably may be the same. I don't live in Yarram, so I'm not fully over all the conversations, but I am very disappointed that they are closing, and I feel for the people in Yarram. The people in Yarram, as I said, we've got young families down there, they're all working hard, and going face to face with a bank is a lot of older people. I am a legatee, I deal with a lot of legacy widows, and I feel for them. They keep on talking to me about they aren't able to do banking online. And a lot of people cannot do banking online, do not want to do banking online, and as Councillor Stevens mentioned about scams. The older people get, the more we need to respect them. They are the people who've gone before us and have set Yarram in place for the younger people to come along and enjoy. So, Bendigo Bank, I implore you to think, if it was your mother, your grandmother, your father or your grandfather, how would you feel if you just said, sorry, you can't go face to face to the bank? So we have to look at compassion. Thank you.
Councillor Madeley.
Thank you, Mayor. I think both Councillor Stevens and Councillor Ripper have spoken very well on this issue, but I just also wanted to support the advocacy work that has been done by Darren Chester, Danny O'Brien and Councillor Stevens in the past few days. I think it's really important for the community to see that people are fighting for them, they are with them, and they support them in the fight ahead with Bendigo Bank to stop this closure. So, thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Yes, thanks, Edward. Councillor Lowe.
Awesome. Thank you, Mayor. I just want to reiterate with what Councillor Stevens, Ripper and Madeley have said, and it just shows you they're no better than anyone else when it comes to the big four banks. So it looks like there's 5 big banks who only care about their profit margins and no one else. They're obviously not the bank for the little people or our community, because all they see is it's profitable, but it's not enough profits. Even though these banks are making billions of bloody dollars, it's disgusting and it's frustrating because they want to push for us to go to a digital currency and everything be digital online, and it's just no good for our elderly community. Hopefully this letter will bring them into line and they can change their stance, hopefully. But thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Councillor Lowe. Thanks. I'll just finish off, councillors, by saying that the community and indeed ourselves were quite blindsided by this. It came completely out of the blue. I think there's been opportunities missed which we still stand by to be able to assist with. We know that the community bank model, for instance, has worked in many of the smaller communities. Maffra, Hayfield, Tura, Foster, sub-branches in those different areas. The fact that the Bendigo actually has those models that work in the smaller communities, we could connect the bank with community members who may indeed be very happy to support a transition in that area. So I think that's an opportunity that has been missed. Instead of blindsiding the community and council and by just coming out with this out of the blue, I think those conversations would have been useful but still remain useful. I know that council stands by to be able to jump into that space. Because also there's something missed, I think, in that decision to move. It's not just how many transactions you've got coming over the table. It's actually what people do when they look for a new loan, they look for a new house loan, they look for a new banker. If the bank is not in your town, then there's a smorgasbord of offerings of people that you can go to. But when you've got the bank in your town, you're typically going to wander into that bank and have a chat to them and see if they can help you with your finance and support you. So I would implore the Bendigo Bank, and in fact we'll put that into the letter to them, to have that conversation, to see if we can facilitate those conversations, to be able to either have Yarram even as a sub-branch of one of the other community banks, or I'm pretty sure there'd be community members who would be interested in having a conversation about setting up a new one. But there's certainly room to move away from this confrontational nature of what's currently happening because of the blindsiding, to get to a stage where the community may still be engaged and supported by the Bendigo Bank in Yarram. But at the moment it's hard to see that pathway, but let's keep our doors open to be able to see if we can support that to come forward. And I think that would be a good outcome. Thank you, Councillor Stevens, for your work on that motion, and for the councillors for supporting it both as a late motion and the motion itself. We still have a notice of motion to deal with here, which is Councillor Fote's notice of motion. Thank you for your generosity in letting us skip over you for a moment and come back to you now.
I just wanted to say that today I am opposing the mandatory rollout of the purple-lidded glass recycling bin as mandated by the Victorian Government's Recycling Victoria policy due to concerns over its financial, spatial and practical implications for our community. And as such, I move that Council write to the Honourable Steve Dimopoulos, Minister for Environment, requesting reconsideration of the mandatory implementation of the purple-lidded glass recycling bin as stipulated under the Circular Economy, Waste Reduction and Recycling Act 2021, noting the significant financial burden this initiative imposes on our community, the effectiveness of this existing container deposit scheme, the CDS, in achieving high glass recovery rates without necessitating an additional curbside bin, the operational challenges of implementing a fourth bin in a regional setting, and the need for flexibility in waste management solutions to align with community needs and financial capacities.
Seconded, Councillor Madeley. Is that motion opposed? The motion not being opposed, it's carried.
Thank you.
Vote.
Important motion that will impact our community over the next few years. A little bit different, maybe not quite so passionate as our Bendigo Bank motion, but still all important. The introduction of this fourth curbside bin for glass recycling, while it's aimed at reducing contamination in mixed recycling streams, it's raised significant concerns in our community. The state government has mandated that councils implement a fourth glass bin service by the 1st of July 2027, so exactly 2 years away. The financial implications are substantial. So with implementation and ongoing costs potentially diverting funds from other community services. Moreover, the existing container deposit scheme has demonstrated efficacy in glass recovery, suggesting that its expansion could achieve similar environmental benefits without the added strain on households. And we also need to look at the flexibility in waste management approaches. It's crucial to accommodating the diverse needs of communities across the state. Regional councils face considerable logistical challenges in implementing a fourth bin into our system already. That's it.
Terrific. Thanks, Councillor Fote. We move then on to, there's no petitions or joint letters, CEO?
I'm done, Mayor.
Thank you. So we move then on to invited addresses, presentations or acknowledgements.
I'll start.
Councillor Foat, thank you.
Okay. Just on behalf of Councillor Wells and myself, we had the pleasure of a tour of Yarram and surrounds. We just wanted to pass on our thanks to Councillor Stevens. Last Monday, we went to Yarram for the day to have a look around. We started at the Yarram Indoor Sports Centre. Now, it was a fabulous facility. It was really cold inside though. It's well maintained, and with some projected upgrades in the future, it'll showcase a vibrant hub of activities. At the moment, they have badminton, martial arts, pickleball, and many others that run throughout there multiple times a day throughout the week. It's a really vital resource and centre for the community, and it's promoting active lifestyles. We also visited the industrial area, the Yarram Recreation Reserve, the Yarram Wetlands, the Great Southern Rail Trail, along various spots and where it crosses the highway, and a few other places. We went to McLaughlin's Beach, viewed the boat ramp and the new jetty that's currently under construction or nearly finished. Mans Beach, Port Albert, where we looked at the dual-occupied facility by the Coast Guard and the Yacht Club. But we were most disappointed that the renowned Port Albert Fish and Chips is not open on a Monday, so we missed out on lunch there. And lastly, we met with Stella at Southerly 10. But thank you so much for the day. The tour provided us both with a deeper understanding of the local facilities, infrastructure and community initiatives in Yarram and all the surrounding areas. It's also given us a bit of an insight that will help us to contribute to, in an informed and meaningful way, to further council workshops and discussions. So thanks very much.
Thank you, Councillor Foat. Councillor Madeley, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. On Sunday 29th of June, I attended a meeting with members of the Seaspray ratepayers, and Councillor Bannerman and I also attended their ratepayers meeting on the 7th of June. The Seaspray ratepayers have circulated a letter this week addressed mainly to Minister Chris Bowen, Minister for Climate Change and Environment, to express their opposition to the Blue Mackerel wind farm, which is located 10 kilometres off the Gippsland coast. The group are in support of a clean energy future, but they state in their letter that this transition must include transparent decision-making, proper consultation and project designs that respect the communities most affected, including assessment of the social impact on them. This letter has been sent to all councillors for their information and understanding of the position of the Seaspray ratepayers. Thank you, Mayor.
Terrific. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. No other invited addresses, presentations or acknowledgements. We'll move through then to questions on notice, which we do not have any of. So delegates reports. Councillor Bannerman.
Thank you, Mayor. So on the 19th of June, I attended a Timber Towns Victoria meeting. The main point of which that I can share with Council was a presentation by an exhortation to look into utilising its particular commercial product called Terra, T-R-R-A. Basically, it's a nanotechnology used in road construction, and the claim is that it's been in use for over 30 years in Europe in wet and cold climates, so similar to what we deal with here, resulting in up to 50% reductions in the cost of laying out roads and road bases, and is a potential, it has potential advantage, particularly when dealing with more and more trucks on our roads, which is why it came up to the Timber Towns of Victoria meeting. So yeah, most interesting, exciting technologies happening out there for us to have a look at.
Most people don't think about it just with driving their roads, but if we don't have them, we know what they're about. Councillor Madeley.
Thank you, Mayor. Last week, Councillors Bannerman, Tatterson, the CEO David Morecambe and myself had the opportunity to attend the Australian Local Government Association's National General Assembly in Canberra. This was an incredibly valuable event that brought together local government representatives from across the country. I believe there was around 1,300 people in attendance. So a highlight was the regional forum, which focused on the unique challenges and opportunities facing regional communities like ours. It was an insightful session that really highlighted the importance of tailored approaches for regional areas, not just a one-size-fits-all policy. A real standout was hearing from Her Excellency, the Governor-General Sam Moyston, who spoke about the importance of civics education and helping young people understand how the 3 levels of government work. It was a timely reminder of how important it is to engage the next generation in local democracy. And her message was also about leading with kindness, so that really resonated with me. One of the most practical sessions for me that we attended was presented by Jason Clark, and that was titled From Big Picture to Local Action. He explored the different types of people who contribute to local problem solving, whether they're the ideas people or the planners or the ones that make sure everything gets done. He also spoke about the ones that might provide the barriers, but how they also serve a purpose when programming. And his message was clear that every type of person has a role to play, and understanding this can make our communities stronger. For me, the greatest takeaway from the event was the networking that we were able to do. So connecting with fellow councillors from right across Victoria and Australia, we had the chance to hear about innovative projects, successful advocacy efforts, and how other councils are tackling shared challenges. And these conversations provided significant value for me. We also had the opportunity to meet with Minister for Climate Change again, Chris Bowen, and our local member, Darren Chester. And these meetings were a valuable chance for us to advocate strongly for the Wellington Shire and to discuss the importance in continuing to grow our region. Overall, it was a fantastic week of learning, connecting and reaffirming the value of local government. Thank you very much, Mayor.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Any other delegates' reports? It sounds like Canberra was very worthwhile.
And cold, but
yes,
that's it. And we saw snow on the way home, but very exciting.
Excellent. Great place for our national capital. 11.1, we have the Assembly of Councillors reports. Oh, is that you, Councillor Ripper?
Yes,
Great.
Yes, I'm ready. Just about ready to go. Thank you. I'd like to move the council note and receive the attached Assembly of Councillors records for the period 9th of June to the 22nd of June 2025.
Thank you, Councillor Ripper. Seconded, Councillor Wells. Is that motion opposed?
I have...
The motion opposed. It's carried.
No.
Please. Did you have something to say, Councillor Ripper?
Thank you. Nothing to say.
No, thank you. So we then move on to item 11.2. Thank you, Councillor Madeley, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you. I move that Council approve a 2-week community engagement process commencing Wednesday the 2nd of July for the following draft documents: Council Plan 2025 to 29, the Financial Plan, the Asset Plan and the Municipal Health and Wellbeing Plan, Live Well in Wellington.
Seconded, Councillor Wells. Is that motion opposed? The motion not being opposed, it's carried. Councillor Madeley, if you want to speak.
Right.
Given the significance of this item, I'm happy for anyone else who may wish to speak as well.
Fantastic. Thank you, Mayor. Tonight, Council will be voting to place 4 key draft plans out for 2 weeks of community consultation. These documents will help guide Wellington Shire's priorities and decisions into the future, and community input is a vital part of shaping them. The 4 plans, as I mentioned, are the Council Plan, which will run from 2025 to 2029. This 4-year plan outlines Council's strategic direction, objectives and key initiatives across services, infrastructure and amenity. It includes measurable indicators to help track progress. The 4-year Council Plan includes the following: the strategic direction for Council, strategic objectives for achieving the strategic direction, strategies for achieving the objectives and strategic indicators for monitoring the achievement of the objectives. We're also looking to put out for consultation the financial plan. So this plan looks ahead over the next 10 years, and this plan ensures Council's long-term financial sustainability. It sets out how we will invest in and fund services and assets while remaining financially responsible and responsive to our community's needs. It's worth noting that the financial plan allows for progress monitoring and reviews to identify and adapt to changing circumstances, and I think that's a really important feature of that plan. The asset plan, this is also a 10-year plan. This document outlines how we will responsibly manage our $1.9 billion in assets, including roads, parks, drainage and buildings, to maintain service levels and minimise risk of failure. And finally, the Municipal Public Health and Wellbeing Plan, which is called Live Well in Wellington. This plan focuses on improving the health and wellbeing of our residents. It includes strategies to address public health issues, family violence and partnership work with other health agencies across the region. These draft plans are the result of significant work by council staff and extensive community engagement, including nearly 1,900 participants in the Future Wellington campaign and the work of the Future Wellington think tank. They also align with our recently adopted Community Vision 2041. From tonight, these plans will be available for community feedback through the Your Wellington, Your Say portal. We encourage all residents, businesses and stakeholders to take this opportunity to have their say and help shape the future of our Shire. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. And did anyone else wish to speak to this?
Yep.
Yeah, thanks, Councillor Foat.
Following on from what Deputy Mayor said, this has been quite a process and an important one at that. So developing all these documents is something vital for our community. They reflect the voices, priorities of our residents and set a clear direction for the years ahead. Through extensive consultation and thoughtful discussion, a plan was shaped that focuses on what matters most: strengthening our local infrastructure, supporting community wellbeing, fostering economic opportunity and protecting the natural environment that makes our region so special. These aren't just documents, but a commitment to work alongside our community to deliver meaningful, lasting outcomes. We know how important it is for people to feel proud of where they live, so these plans are more than just projects. It's about creating vibrant towns, safe and inclusive spaces and opportunities for everyone to thrive. Guided by transparency, collaboration and long-term thinking, we're working together to deliver results that truly reflect the needs and aspirations of our community. Now, I acknowledge the significant amount of work that has gone into developing all of these plans from ourselves, the councillors, the council staff, community members who contributed their time, ideas and local knowledge. I now encourage residents, stakeholders and interested parties to view the proposed future direction for Wellington Shire and take the opportunity to share their feedback as we work together to bring these plans to life.
Thank you, Councillor Foat. Did anyone else wish to speak? Thank you, Councillor Stevens.
Look, thank you, Mayor. These documents together give us really a comprehensive picture of where we're going to be going in the next 4 to 10 years. And so I would encourage anyone who's interested in the work of our municipality to have a good look at these documents, because particularly in the financial and assets areas, they tell us what we're doing to actually manage the work of the council. Councillor Motley referred to $1.9 billion worth of assets. You know, there's a significant amount of work just in us maintaining those assets, because although a significant part of the asset base is road, bridge, drainage, etc., we still have to continue to maintain those assets, and that is pretty comprehensively set out in these documents. I congratulate the staff for the work they've done, and I'd also congratulate the people who had input into our council plan, particularly those people that put their hands up to be part of our Future of Wellington think tank, because they gave freely of their time and had a really major input into the work and the development of the plan. So thank you all to all those people that have had an input to date, and we welcome any further comment, Mayor. Thanks,
Councillor Stevens. Anyone else wish to speak? And certainly I acknowledge as well the great input from the many community members, like including in the think tank, who really assisted council putting this document together. Many council policies and documents are pretty boring reads because they are very dry. But this one in particular actually gives you a really good snapshot of the region that we live in and we love. It does that with, I think, really clever use of graphics. So you can read through it and actually get a real understanding of not just what council's priorities are, but what our communities are about. I'm just looking at one page here where it will give you a lot of the stats around our areas, you know, what our population is, how many of our households are non-English speaking, the makeup of our households, the size of our communities, and all these sorts of things are all actually in this document. So even if you're not really that interested in what council's priorities are, there's actually a whole lot of great stuff in there about what our communities are about. And if you really want to, if you're new to town, for instance, and want to understand what's going on here, this document's a great place to start. So I certainly commend the communities who've been involved with this, and indeed the cleverness of the staff who've created the document that is actually very readable. I've seen a few where I fall asleep reading it. This one's not one of them. It's actually very good. Yes, I'm not sure. I probably won't get talked to later on anyway after all those comments, but let's move on to 11.3, the Audit and Risk Committee minutes. Another set of exciting documents. Councillor Bannerman.
Thank you, Mayor. I move that Council receive and note the attachment 11.3.1 Audit and Risk Committee minutes in brief from 26th of May 2025 and the confidential attachment 11.3.3 Audit and Risk Committee minutes 26th of May 25. I note that the information contained in the confidential attachment 11.3.3 Audit and Risk Committee minutes from the 26th of May 2025 of this council meeting agenda was designated confidential under section 3 brackets 1 confidential information of the Local Government Act 2020 by the General Manager Corporate Services on the 10th of June 2025 because it relates to the following grounds: E, legal privileged information, and L, information that was confidential information for the purposes of Section 77 of the Local Government Act 1989.
Seconded Councillor Lowe, I believe. Thank you. Is that motion opposed? The motion not being opposed, it's carried. Councillor Bannerman.
So thank you, Mayor. So the Audit and Risk Committee does some very important work in regards to keeping an eye on both the money and policies coming before Council, and said committee is required in accordance with Section 53 of the Local Government Act 2020. The Audit and Risk Committee is an independent advisory committee to Council, and its primary objective, it's important to note that there's only 2 councillors on the committee. It's mostly external people having a look at what we're doing. Its primary objective is to assist Council in the effective conduct of its responsibilities for financial reporting, management of risk, maintaining a reliable system of internal controls and facilitating the organisation's ethical development. Minutes of the Audit and Risk Committee are reported direct to Council. A copy of the minutes in brief from the last meeting on the 26th of May is attached and is provided for the information of Council and the public in general, noting that the bulk of the minutes are, as previously stated, confidential. Thank you, Mayor.
Terrific. Thanks, Councillor Bannerman. Just checking if... No, that's all right. We don't need anything from Councillor Lowe. We move then on to item 11.4, the Risk Management Policy Review. Councillor Madeley. Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
I move that Council adopt the attached risk management policy.
Thank you. Seconded Councillor Bannerman. Is that motion opposed? The motion not being opposed is carried. Councillor Madeley. Deputy Mayor.
Great, thank you, Mayor. Tonight we're being asked to adopt the updated risk management policy, which is a key part of Council's risk management framework. This policy outlines how we identify, assess, monitor and manage risk to ensure Council can meet its objectives safely and effectively. Risk management isn't a one-off task, it needs to be embedded in our strategy, planning and day-to-day operations. As part of its regular annual review and with feedback from our Audit and Risk Committee, several minor amendments have been made. These include adding references to related council policies, removing the scope section, this is now covered under applicable to, updating staff position titles and making some small grammatical edits. These changes help ensure the policy remains up-to-date, practical and aligned with how we work. Thank you very much, Mayor.
Terrific. Thanks, Deputy Mayor. We move then on to the 12.1, the Landscape Construction Services 2025-28 Schedule of Rates Panel Tender. Thank you, Councillor Fote.
I move that Council 1 receive and consider this report and all attachments pertaining to this report. 2, accept the schedule of rates for landscape construction services 2025 to 2028 for a 2-year term with 2 extension options of 12 months to be made available solely at Council's discretion as outlined in the confidential attachment 12.1.2 confidential tender evaluation report, landscape construction services 2025 to 2028, schedule of rates panel tender 2025 to 217, is that right? That's
Yeah,
correct.
yes, sir.
And as submitted by...
It's a tender number.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not
All
years to
round
year.
landscapes, BILD, Greenfields, Clint Kelly Excavations, Property Limited, Diverse Exteriors, GBM Contractors, Habitat Creations, KL and J Murray, Longford Bobcat Hire, MT BNAC Earth Property Limited, RNC Coleman Excavations, RB Drilling and Earthworks Property Limited, RW&C Hicks, and I will take number 3 as...
Thank you. Seconded, Councillor Wells. Is that motion opposed? The motion not being opposed is carried, and I can announce that the all compliant tenderers will be accepted on the Landscape Construction Services panel. Did you wish to speak to this, Councillor Folk?
No, forward, thanks.
Thank you. We'll move then on to 12.2, the Vegetation Management Works schedule of rates panel tender. Thanks, Councillor Tatterson.
Thank you, Mayor. I move that Council receives and considers this report and all attachments pertaining to this report. And 2, accepts the schedule of rates for Vegetation Management Works 2025-2028 for a 2-year term with 2 extension options of 12 months to be made available solely at Council's discretion as outlined in the tender in the confidential attachment 12.2.2 confidential tender evaluation report, Vegetation Management Works 2025-2028, schedule of rates panel tender 2025-218, and as submitted by, and there is a list of a number of contractors there, and I'll take those as written, and item 3 as written in the agenda.
Thank you, Councillor Tatterson. Was that being seconded? Yes, seconded Councillor Lowe. Is that motion opposed? Motion not being opposed, it's carried. So I can announce that all compliant tenderers will be accepted on the Vegetation Management Works panel. Did you wish to say anything there, Councillor Tatterson?
Just that both these previous 2 contracts are really important in ensuring we maintain our parks and gardens in our urban forest, and also the roadside vegetation. So it's a really important component. Most of the contractors appear to be local contractors, and they play an important role in ensuring the safe and well-maintained parks and roads within our municipality. So thank you to those contractors for making themselves available to do work for council.
Excellent. And we are very proud of our parks and gardens and a lot of the ways that the roads are treated. We're about to move on to 12.3, the adoption of the road management plan. A couple of things there. I believe we might have gallery comment about this, but also with this motion, assuming it's passed, I'm happy for anyone who wishes to speak to do so as well. CEO.
Thank you, Mayor and Councillors. Just a reminder, Councillors, we did receive effectively a chat room comment, if you like, from Mr David Woodhouse from MAFRA, who wrote, and I won't read out exactly what he wrote because it is quite lengthy, but it was around addressing the defect intervention levels in the road management plan. That correspondence has already been circulated to all councillors, and we've checked that you've received that, and you've included that in your deliberations in relation to tonight's agenda item.
Thanks, CEO. So I look for a motion then. Councillor Bannerman.
Thank you, Mayor. I move that Council adopt the Road Management Plan 2025 following a review pursuant to provisions of the Road Management General Regulations 2016.
Thank you. Seconded. Councillor Madeley. Deputy Mayor, is that motion opposed? The motion not being opposed, it's carried, but again I'll invite others to speak after Councillor Bannerman has done her summing up.
So at the ordinary meeting of the Council on the 4th of March, Councillors authorised the issue of a notice to amend the Road Management Plan pursuant with Section 10 of the Road Management Regulations 2016. A notice was then published in line with Council's resolution inviting submissions from all members of the community. As a result, thank you to those people who made submissions. We got 6 formal submissions back, and which were all subsequently reviewed by council officers and councillors. Formal submissions related to requests for roads to be added to Council's Register of Public Roads, general customer requests, and the proposed changes to the intervention levels in the draft road management plan. All formal submissions have to be reviewed by council officers and councillors, and there are no proposed changes to the draft road management plan as a result of this review. We also received 210 survey responses through the Your Wellington, Your Say project page. That information was reviewed by council officers, summarised and presented to councillors as part of the process. The main themes that came up were maintenance of sealed roads, maintenance of unsealed roads, and resheeting of unsealed roads. Additional feedback was taken from both council's civil liberty insurer, MAV Insurance, and legal representatives were also sought in relation to the draft road management plan. Following consideration of the submissions and feedback from the insurance and legal representatives, further amendments have been made to the draft plan, including further refinement of terminology in the main document and appendices, particularly in terms of council's current inspection and operational processes, a minor alteration to council's defect intervention levels for shared paths, and a statement clarifying that the road management plan is the overarching policy in relation to council's road management policies. All amendments that have been made to the draft road management plan for 2025, further to those identified in the council report from 4th of March, have maintained the proposed level of service for the community.
Thanks, Councillor Bannerman. Would anyone else like to speak? Councillor Stephens.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I changed my mind about opposing the motion because I'd just rather speak to it. I mean, I'm not opposed in principle to the roads management plan, but I am disappointed that over the years, the one thing that I've been really unable to achieve for ratepayers is those ratepayers who are living on non-council maintained roads I have not been able to get any sort of successful outcome for them. And this is unfortunately a product of the way we have had to develop this plan. In, I think, 2006, the Road Management Act came into place, which made councils it set in place the need for councils to form a road management plan. And basically, we had to go through and prepare a register of public roads. That was a huge body of work. The people that did that did a massive job. It's over 900 pages of detail about how we manage not only every road, but actually sections of roads. And unfortunately, under the criteria we used for the road management plan, some roads became NCM roads or non-council maintained roads. And it's all pretty much boils down to council's liability. Under the road management plan, we set levels of intervention for how we will manage the roads, and that is really basically to protect the council from liability for unforeseen things or for intervention levels outside the criteria set out in the plan. But yeah, it's just unfortunate that this is left. A number of people, I think about 7 or 8 people have made representations to me over the years that I can recall about the need or the fact that they live in residences on non-council maintained roads and can't get council to do any work. Now, council officers have investigated through our insurers, the MAV, where we stand in this matter. And of course, if we intervene, the problem we've got, the rock and the hard place, so to speak, is if we intervene on a non-council maintained road, that practically just, I can't think of the right word exactly, but it really just takes away the whole level of protection for the council that's contained in the road management plan. Because as soon as we do work on the road, we're liable for it. Even as soon as we give advice almost to a ratepayer as to what they can do in their road, we could have certainly levels of liability. So I've suggested various ways we could help ratepayers living on non-council maintained roads. I suggested we could have a differential rate, but practically that's not allowed for under the local government minister's guidelines on differential rates. I've thought about whether or not we could have a grant scheme or something else, and at this stage, all those areas really probably would raise the council's level of liability. So, yep, I thank the staff for the work they've done on the road management plan. We keep changing the guidelines subtly. There's now more, the criteria for being a maintained road has changed over the years. I'm not sure how many road management plans we've had, Mayor, but we must be up to about the 10th or 11th iteration, I think, of the road management plan. So, look, it's a work in progress. It's a very important document. I thank the 200 odd people that's responded to the survey, and the six people who actually took the time to make representations. I appreciate their comments, and we now will try and work within this plan for the next 4 years and provide the best possible outcomes for ratepayers, given the fact that we have 3,000 kilometres of road, a huge, I think we might have the largest length of road in the state, or pretty close anyway.
Top three.
Top three, oh, okay. So, you know, we have a huge responsibility to maintain the roads in the best possible manner for our ratepayers and the general public. So, thanks, Mayor.
Thanks, Councillor Stevens. Councillor Tatterson. You're on mute.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Councillor Stevens, and thank you to Mr Woodhouse for his thoughtfulness and going through our road management plan. Just to counter what Councillor Stevens has just said, roads not on our register are listed on our register. The following roads are not listed on the register of public roads. Roads which are the full responsibility of the state government or private enterprise, unused roads for which council has not accepted responsibility, roads drawn out of a plan of subdivision until such time the council accepts responsibility for the roads, and roads which council have determined not reasonably required for general public use. So in effect what that's saying is that the roads that Councillor Stevens was referring to aren't required for general public use. They're only required for the individual that they service. And as such, it's reasonable that those people should maintain their own road to provide for their own access. If we don't, there could be up to an extra 1,000 kilometres of road where there's road reserves all across the Shire. And what the road management plan did was force councils to make hard decisions and set a service level, but it's an obligation on those councils to make sure they do maintain those roads at that service level. So it's not about insurance, it's about our obligation to maintain the whole of the road network, which we've determined as reasonably required for general public use. We have now set a standard to which we have to maintain it. So if we start adding 1,000 kilometres to it, we would then have to double the size of our maintenance fleet and significantly increase our capital works budget. So it's not always about insurance. In this case, it's about the community's ability to meet the obligations that council set. So it's the responsible asset management and the responsible setting of a road management plan that reasonably provides for the broad community, not one or two or seven individuals. It's across our whole network. So I commend the officers for the work that they've done on the review of the road management plan, and congratulate them, and hopefully this is a really important document for our council to understand and work with.
Did anyone else wish to speak? No? Thank you, councillors. And I note also that Councillor Stevens mentioned the 3,000 kilometres of roads, because the road management plan and what we have to do in there, and the decisions, the hard decisions and service levels that Councillor Tatterson referred to, really comes down to a pretty simple fact that we are a large shire with relatively small number of people. Comparing ourselves to somewhere like the city of Stonington, they've got well over twice of our population, so lots more ratepayers. But they're dealing with 25.7 square kilometres. We're dealing with 10,989 square kilometres. With they've got just over twice our population. They've got the length of roads they deal with is 260 kilometres, not 260,000, not 26,000, not 2,600, 260 kilometres. We've got 3,000 kilometres of roads in that road management plan, and there's probably another 1,500, maybe even 2,000 kilometres of roads that aren't mentioned because they're not really that well made, where they would probably only have one or two pools or libraries. We've got half a dozen of each because of this huge area we have. And that's why often people will say the rates are more expensive in the country than in their holiday home in Locksport than in Melbourne, because ultimately we've got a lot of assets that need to be dealt with here, a lot of services to provide, with not many people, and we're stuck with this system of rating. I can tell you that the people in Toorak and South Yarra living in Stonington have probably got a few more bucks in their back pocket than people in many of our communities that have to pay the rates. So while we would love to be able to provide a high level of service to all of those other roads in the road management plan, in practical terms it would break the bank of all of our ratepayers to do so. So making those hard decisions that councils did back in the days of amalgamation that Councillor Taddison referred to is one of those things that had to be done to protect the interests of the ratepayers themselves, because it would be unaffordable to do anything else. But again, thank you to all of the community who put input in there. It's not just the roads that do or don't get looked after. There are nuances in there that we appreciate the feedback on. And we certainly encourage people to feed back into any of our plans, including the health and wellbeing. The council plan's been put out now for display. Councillors, we move on to further gallery and online comments. I believe we might have one there, CEO, 113.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Councillors, we've received a comment from Susan Reeks, and I do apologise to Susan if I've got the pronunciation of her name not quite right. Councillors will recall we raised the matter at the last council meeting of our Local Law 1, covering, among a number of things, public toilets. Councillors will recall we've received a VCAT direction in relation to changing that, hence that local law has gone out to consultation. Susan's just expressed her objection to the change in the local law. Mayor, I'm only raising this now because she's asked us to put it on the record, but what we will do, anything at all relating to public toilets from this point forward, because it is out to consultation, will include as part of that consultation process. They'll all be made available to council together, so we won't read them out individually. So prior to them coming back to council in probably around September, yes, when we consider that local law.
Terrific. No other gallery comments? No? Well, there's no reason to go into closed session, councillors. So I close the meeting. Thank you everyone for coming.
Thank you, Ed.
Thank you, Ed. And well done on passing one of your 3 exams today. The other 2 he hasn't done yet. It's not that he hasn't passed them, he hasn't done them yet.
That's right. Tomorrow I got one, so